Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, so students, in the previous class we were talking about that of the stakeholder, and we discussed that what are the four stakeholders. Stakeholders are those who used to take interest in the forest and its product. And we came to know that basically there are four stakeholders. The first one is the people who live in there, or who live near to that of the forest. The second one is the forest department itself. Then the third one is the industrialist, and the fourth one is the forest or the wildlife activists are there, those who used to take interest in the forest and its product. Although the thing which varies here, that the kind of interest shown by them, like that of a person who are living there, they are dependent on forest for their product. The people who the forest department, they are there to own the forest land as well as to control the resources from the forest. The industrialists are there who uses the various forest product. And the last one is enthusiast or the activist. These are there to protect the forest. Now see, if we talk about the enthusiast only, there are a lot of incident which was already happened, which tells that how people were so concerned about the forest, or how they work on the protection of the forest. For example, there was a case of a khejuri trees, and uh, there was a local people. See, the case of a Bishnoi community in Rajasthan. Yes, community in Rajasthan state of the country, for whom conservation of forest and wildlife, it has been a religious belief. Okay, and in 1731, Amrita Devi Bishnoi, she led a group of 363 person who sacrificed their life for protection of a khejuri trees in Khejurali village near Jodhpur in Rajasthan. And this shows the determination of some people to work for the conservation of a natural environment. So, Amrita Devi, she she sacrificed her life, and just for the protection of the khejri trees, which is near in Jodhpur in Rajasthan. And basically, you see, students, this is what this shows the love, this shows the determination of some people to work for the conservation, to work for the protection of the natural environment. And because of this only, the government of India has recently instituted an Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation in the memory of Amrita Devi Bishnoi. Okay, so this is a case in Rajasthan. This is a single case, students, of one of the case you can say, where this shows that how people were so enthusiastic regarding the forest. So you see that we need to accept that the human intervention has been much a part of a forest landscape, and what has to be managed in nature and extend to this intervention. Forest resources ought to be used in a manner that is both environmentally and developmentally sound. In other words, while the environment is preserved, the benefit of controlled exploitation go to the local people, a process in which decentralized economic growth and ecological conservation go hand in hand. See, here it is explaining about Here it is talking about that the economic growth as well as the ecological conservation, it must be go hand in hand. Here we must know how to manage the nature as well as how to manage the intervention. It means the human intervention, it means the need of the resources for different purpose that should be in a limited extent. The exploitation as well as the conservation, both must be there. It means we must use the environment, we must use the resources of the environment in a precise manner, in a well manner, so that no such exploitation of the environment can take place. So people can also take the benefit of the resources, as well as we are able to preserve the environment also. So that's why it is said that we need to we need to use these resources with due caution for our economic and social growth, and to meet our material aspiration. So we can say the resources that we use, we must be very caution about that it must include the economic growth, it must include the social growth, and we must use it wisely so that it meets to our material aspiration also. So we must know how to manage, how to use the natural resources in such a way that we will be able to preserve the environment also, as well as the exploitation of the resources also. Now see, the next one is the sustainable management. See, here it is given that we need to consider if the goal of all the above stakeholders with regard to management of the forest are the same, forest resources are often made available for industrial use at rate far below the market value, while these are denied the people. So the forest, the resources which was obtained by the stakeholder, like that of the industrialist or the industrial for the industrial use, that is what its rate is very much low, is very low, or far below than the market value. The product which was made by the forest item, and the market value of the same item, it's what there is a huge difference in the value, and this was denied to the local people. And because of that only, again the people, the villagers, they start protecting their forest by doing andolan. So one of the andolan is there, which is the Chipko Andolan. The Chipko Andolan is very famous one, students. The Chipko, it means the hug the trees, hug the trees movement. And what was the result of why this happened, this Chipko Andolan? So basically, uh, this Chipko Andolan, it was originated from an incident in a in the village that is Reni in Gharwal, and which is in the Himalayas. And there was we can say that a logging contractor, he had been allowed to cut down trees in a forest close to the village. The people of the village, they did not want the forest to be cut down because it would have spoiled their healthy environment. One day, when the men folk of the village were out of the work, the contractor workers came in forest to cut down the tree. And in the absence of the men, the women of the village reached the forest quickly and clasped the tree trunk with their arms, preventing the worker from cutting down the tree. And the forest trees were thus saved. So there was a dispute between that of the local villagers and that of the contractor, and who was allowed to fell the trees in the forest which was near to the village. And the people, they do not want it, obviously, because that is their shelter. They get everything from the forest itself. So So they do not allow the contractor to cut the trees or to fell the trees. So what happened on a day, the contractor, when he saw that the men were they were absent, they were not there, they went for the work. So uh, what they think that if this is a good time to cut the trees, and then they went there to cut the trees. But the women of the village, they reached, they knew about that, and they reached the forest, and they collapsed the tree trunk. They do not allow, they hug the trees, and due to which this will prevent the worker also from felling the trees. And then what happened, the contractor had to withdraw. So this is what students, this Chipko Andolan, it's a it's an example of the people who want to protect the wildlife, who want to protect their forest. This Chipko movement, it quickly spread across the community, even in the media, and it forced the government to whom the forest belongs to rethink the priorities in the use of the forest produce. So basically, when this Andolan it gets spread a lot, then the government, they think about the priorities, about the forest produce, about the trees itself, and the people, the local people, those who are dependent on them. Experience has taught people that destruction of the forest affected not just the availability of the forest product, but also the quality of the soil and sources of the water. We knew that students that the destruction of the forest will not only going to affect the life of the people, the life of the organisms who are the living beings who are living there, who are dependent on the forest, but also it will affect the quality of the soil. You know that the trees, they used to hold the soil with their roots, and if there will be no trees, then the soil will also get the soil erosion. Soil erosion will occur, and you know that the soil erosion will hamper the soil, will make the soil deficient of the minerals. So that will going to degrade the quality of the soil, and as well as the sources of the water, because we know that the plants, trees, they are responsible for the process of transpiration. With the help of a transpiration, they used to take part in water cycle. And forest is what? That is that particular area where a huge amount of trees are there. So the process of the transpiration will be maximum in the forest area only. So this is how the quality of the soil and the sources of the water will get reduced by the cutting or destruction of the forest. Now there is another example, students, that how people they participated in management of the forest, and here this happens in West Bengal. So in 1972, the West Bengal Forest Department, he formulated a novel scheme to revive the degraded Sal forest by involving the local people. A beginning was made in the Arbari forest range of in Midhanapur district, and a far-sighted forest officer, he involved the villager of the area around the forest in the protection of 1272 hectares of badly degraded sal forest. And in return for helping in protecting the forest, the villagers were given employment in both silviculture as well as harvesting operation of the forest. And 25% of the final harvest produced were allowed to collect firewood and fodder from the forest area on a nominal payment. And because of that, what happened that with this participation of the local people who are living around the forest, that helps the degraded sal forest of Arbary, it becomes thick and green within 10 years. So this is how what? This is how the participation of the local people it can lead to an efficient management of a forest. So, uh, how a forest department officer, Mr. A.K. Banerjee, he involves the villagers in the protection of a 1272 hectare of a badly degraded salt forest. And with this, not only this, he helped them by giving the employment, and this employment, it is in both in silviculture as well as in a harvesting operation. uh, Also, the 25% of the final harvest were allowed as a fuel or a fodder collection on the payment, and this will help in the recovery by 1983 in the forest, and which was valued as 12.5 crore. So you can see that with the good management, with the help of the local people, how we can lead to an efficient management of the forest. Now let us move on and see waterfall on water. You know that water is really important natural resources. It's what is the basic necessity of all the form of the life. It can be human being, it can be animals, or even it can be a plant. Okay, so it is what it is the basic necessity for all the terrestrial form of a life, and we have already studied about the importance of water as a resource, the water cycle, and even that how human intervention it pollutes the water bodies. However, human intervention also changes the availability of water in the various regions. How? Let us see. So you know that the rainfall, its rain is really important. It's a big source of the fresh water that is received by the ground. It also helps in maintaining the underground water level. But although this is the monsoon, the rainfall is what it is. It occurs in few months in the year, and it is largely due to the monsoon. So even though due to nature's monsoon, there is a failure to sustain water availability, and this will result into loss of vegetation cover. It will result into, it happens because of the pollution from the industrial effluence, and even the urban waste is also dumped into the water. Okay, so so even earlier it was like it was different students. The people in the ancient, they used to use they used to the irrigation method. It will be controlled by the local people, and they assured they assured that the basic minimum requirement for both agriculture and daily needs were met throughout the year. So this was their in the ancient time. This was their method, that how they will use the water. So they use the minimum requirement for agriculture as well as the basic needs. So, how they used to store it? So, the use of this stored water was strictly regulated, and optimum cropping pattern based on the water availability were arrived at the basis of the century of experience. So, people, they were knowing the value of the water, so there was strictly regulated, and they know that how much water they must use for the cropping pattern, and this knowledge actually came through the through experience, that how they can maintain the irrigation system as well as they can control the use of the excess water. But what happened after the arrival of the Britishers? This concept, it changed a lot. So now there is a conception of a large scale project, large dam, large canals, canals which is transforming large distances, were first conceived and implemented by the British, and carried with no less gusto by the newly formed independent government. So they have set up a large project, they have set up a mega project, like dams are there, canals are there, which use a lot of water. So this project, that which was given by the Britishers, it led to the neglect of the local irrigation method, and even the government also take its interest in they also start thinking, they also took over the system, and this will lead to what loss of control over the local water resources by the local people. So earlier when the people they were controlling the water, now it was not controlled by the people itself, but it is controlled by the government, as they start working on a large scale rather than the small one which was earlier done by the local people. So we said that on a large scale they used to prepare dam. So let us see that why do we see to build dam. So the first thing that the large dams, it ensures the storage of the adequate water. It is not only for the irrigation, but you know that the dam is also there for the generating the electricity. You know that the stored water is there to use the water. The stored water is there to generate the electricity, which we also call as a hydropower plant. Okay, canal system is there, students. This canal system lead from these dams, it can transfer a large amount of water in a great distance. Like one of the canal is Indira Gandhi Canal, and this has brought greenery to considerable area of Rajasthan. So we can say here that these canals from the dams, it help in providing the sufficient amount of water, and that will help in greenery around the area here. However, there is a mismanagement of the water, and this will leads to it is because of the people who wants to few people who are very much concerned about their own benefit only, and the reason is that there is a no equitable distribution of water, and thus the people close to the source grow water intensive crop like sugarcane and rice, while the people farther downstream do not get any water. Actually, what happened, even though the this was set up, the dam and the canals were set up to so that the water must be available to each and every part of the people, but it was seen that the people those who are very close to the canals, they were able to get the water, and because of that they start growing the sugar cane and the rice, while the people who were farther, they do not get any water, so they were not able to cultivate the sugar or the rice. Now this is what students, this makes the woes of these people who have been promised benefit which were never arrived are added to the discontentment among the people who have been displaced by the building of the dam and its canal network. So this will make a people a disbelief, because what is there, they were promised that they will get the benefit of the dams, the water which is there in the dam in the canal, as well as they were displaced, because what happened, the formation of the dam, it needs a good area, good land, so they were displaced by the building of the dam and even by the building of its canal network. Okay, so even if you see the reason for the opposition of the construction of a large dams, like such as Tehri Dam on River Ganga, it was because of that only. There was a protest, Narmada Bachao Andolan. It was about the raising the height of a Sardar Sarovar Dam on a river Narmada. Okay, so the people were dissatisfied because of the you can say uneven distribution of the water. Now the large dams, there were some problems which related to the large dams. There was a criticism about the large dams, and this was, the first one is the social problem. What is there in the social problem, students? So what happened, due to the construction of a high rise dam, a large number of people who are the villagers, this the that water was what they submerged in the water, the large area where the people they used to live, they submerged, and which will constructed as a dam. Now the people are what? They become homeless because what government, if they want to make the dam, they need land, and for land they used to clear the area, they used to displace the people. So what happened, the people they become homeless, and obviously this will create a social problem, and therefore it is necessary that all the people who were displaced from the dam are given adequate compensation by the government for rehabilitation so as to start their life fresh. So there was a social problem which occurred because they displaces a large number of people in tribal, and without any kind of a compensation and rehabilitation. So if the people they are living there, they're living in a particular area and the government wants to establish a dam, this will create a social problem as they did not, the people those who are displaced, they did not get anything. Second one is the economic problem. So economic problem because they swallow up huge amount of a public money without the generation of a proportionate benefit. See the people, uh, the benefit of the economic problem is what the government they take a lot of money for that without providing any facility to that of the to the people. Environmental problem because the formation of the dam it contributes to the deforestation, and even the biological diversity also get affected because of the construction of the dam. So these are what students, these are the some of the you can say the drawbacks or the problems which was created by the problems or the criticism about the large dams, that is social problem, economic problem, and environment problems too. Okay.